We are going to discuss computer networking, and we see now that a computer network is a system in which multiple computers are connected to each other to share information and resources. And this is how a computer network looks like. At some point, we should be able to differentiate between a network and internet. And internet is a network of multiple networks. You can see a network is a network of multiple computers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But an internet is this network and another network like this one, another network like this one, interconnected worldwide. And I think that is the word that we should add there, worldwide. And therefore, when we have multiple networks interconnected to each other from the entire world, that makes the internet. So we have only one internet, but we have very, very many networks. So we are simply saying that in a network, there is the central network server or the router where each of the computer connects, and therefore each of them can be able to share the resources. Now, we have some characteristics of a network, and one of them is that in a network, there is sharing of resources from one computer to another. Resources might be in terms of storage, even CPU, but this is not very straightforward. What is most straightforward is this one, such that you might have one computer there and another computer there. You are working on a file, let's say a movie. Movie is stored in computer A, and someone is in computer B. They want to access this movie, you just get the network address and access that movie. You copy it and you save it in your computer, or you just stream it directly from this computer. And that is what is happening. So like in the case of Netflix, I guess most of you are very conversant with Netflix. What happens is that your computer, which is your mobile phone, is connecting to the cloud via the internet, and now what happens is that they are able to get a movie that is stored here and accessible via this mobile phone. So the other characteristic is that of you are able to create a file in one computer and store them in a different computer. And again, you can also think about Google Drive. I guess also that most of you might be conversant with that. Google Drive allows you to work on a file in your computer, and then it is saved in the cloud. So once it is saved in the cloud, when you go to another computer, you can always access it. So there is that ability of creating and storing files and accessing those files from the cloud or from the network. So that is the other characteristic. The other one is that you are able to connect multiple devices, probably a scanner, a printer, a fax machine to one computer, and then the computers in the network are going to be able to print from their end on a printer that is connected to your computer. So that is another possibility with the network, and there are many more than this, but these ones at least serve the purpose. So what we also see in this list is that there is a list of hardware that are required to set up a network, and the first one is the networking cable, and there are distributors for which we also call the switch or switches. Then there is a router, and sometimes these ones might perform a role that is quite related. And then there is networking cards or network cards, or what we also called network interface cards. So these are the components or the hardware that is required to form a computer network. Now we talk about each of these, and the first one that we deal with is the network cables. And the network cables are used to connect computers, and I believe you might be conversant with this. These connections allow you to connect computer. This is also called the Ethernet cable, and the port on which this cable is plugged is called the Ethernet port. So on one side you connect on that this cable, and this other side you connect on this cable. Of course, it doesn't look like this one. We are saying that one end will be like that one, the other end comes like that one. So you might have this is your one cable with a connection that is called RJ45. So one computer has each of these ports, and therefore you plug one side with the cable and the other side with that other connector, and therefore you have a form a connection. That is what we call the network cable. Sometimes we might have additional cables like fiber fiber optic cables, which you are going to learn at a different level. Sometimes it might be wireless interconnection, but all of these form the purpose of networking cables. The other component or the hardware that you find in a computer network is that of a switch or a distributor. In the old days, it used to be called distributor, but the more conversant term is a switch. The switch allows you to have multiple computers, a switch having many ports, one port, another port, etc. So you have one computer connecting here, another computer connecting there, another computer connecting there, etc. When computer A wants to access computer B, it doesn't need to have any additional connection because all of them are connected via this switch. So that is the purpose of the switch. Just it is like the central body to which other computers, printers, or scanners are connected, and this allows the distribution of the network. There is a cable, this one, connecting to the laptop, which is this one. So the port that is called serial port has about I think 15. I'm not sure whether it is 9 or I think either 9 or 15 ports. I think we will discuss this one at another level. But you can connect one computer using this port. So you put in a connector, the serial port connector, to another computer with the same serial port, about 9 ports with another plug, just like the one that you're seeing is a networking cable. So when you connect them, then they're able to communicate with one another. Otherwise, this is an old model of communicating. The new model, we normally use Ethernet cables. So this one was the old type. So this was serial port, and this was serial port. So, and this is just the serial connector. But now, nowadays, we do not use much of this. We use the Ethernet connectors, the one that we call category 5 or cat 5 or cat 6, etc. So now these are the ones that are primarily used, that are normally look like this one, and they are used with switches and routers. So another component that we need to discuss is that of the router. And a router is a type of device which acts as a central point among computers and other devices that are part of the network. It is equipped with holes called ports, and computers and other devices are connected to a router using network cables. It's the same idea that we have discussed of a switch. Switch also does exactly what this statement does. But now, in addition, a router might have a wireless mode whereby it creates a Wi-Fi or hotspot, and therefore the Wi-Fi you are able to plug it or connect it wirelessly with your device like mobile phone or laptop. So that is the other distinction that router will come. The major distinction between a router and a switch is that a router is able to create a path where your data traffic will pass. Most of the times, the switch will do what is called a broadcast, that it receives a signal or a packet, and then it is sent to all computers that are connected to the switch. But the router will create a path and say specifically that I want the packets to pass from this destination, go to this other router, and etc. So there is the aspect of routing that comes with the router, which is absent in the switch. But again, those are details which you learn as you advance. The last item that we need to discuss is that of the network card, and we say that where the Ethernet port is, that component is actually connected to what is called network card. And actually now this is the diagram I want to show you. This port is the one that is called Ethernet port. Ethernet port is where you plug in your network cable. So this is where you connect your RJ45. This is the cable that we have been seeing that is normally connected to the network cable. This is the port, and therefore this is the connection. Where this now port is connected, this is connected to a device that is called network interface card. It looks like this one, and this one is the internal one, and this one connects to the motherboard of the computer and therefore allows the connection to happen between computer and then the network. And now there are another type of network card that is called external. It also performs the same role, but this time it might be wireless, and wireless still allows you to connect this part. This is now the network interface card. Of course, this is the antenna that allows you to connect to with the network card wirelessly. But now this section that is plugged to the motherboard. This is plugged to the motherboard, so that then it allows the PC to communicate wirelessly with other devices. So the other version of the network card is the USB version, where you just plug this one to the normal USB port, and once you plug it in, it allows the personal computer or the laptop to connect wirelessly with other devices. Those are the components that are required to form a network.